Today, let's start by discussing the racket angle. Watch my racket angle. Do you see it change? Any change? No, there isn't. The reason we often make unforced errors is that our racket face is too wobbly. To develop a solid forehand, you must complete your stroke framework correctly and keep it stable, without any wobbling. Right now, I'm talking about the forehand drive. The loop is a different matter entirely. Therefore, during your forehand backswing in contact with the ball, you must keep the racket face stable. This is for the drive. Now, what about the loop? Does the racket angle change? Is it a big change? No, it's not. So, when looping, there is a slight brushing motion along an arc at the point of contact. This feeling of wrapping the ball is what we call brushing with an arc. When looping, slightly adjust to get that wrapping sensation, and your racket face will naturally create the right brushing friction. Second point, do any of you feel that your shots aren't solid? I'm sure many of you do, right? Use your hips to lead your arm. I'm talking about close to the table play. From mid-distance, you'll need to engage your legs more. Use your hips to drive your arm and push forward into the ball. Make sure this is a back-to-front motion. I'm not using full power now, just demonstrating the movement. That was without full power. With power, it looks like this. So, why aren't your shots solid? It's because you're not using your body. Your arm alone can only generate so much power. When you engage your body, you can achieve true synchronized power. From mid-distance, the swing is bigger, but the principle is exactly the same. Don't reach for the ball with your arm, position yourself with your body. Use your hips to get into position. How do you do that? During the backswing for any forehand shot, you must learn to rotate and drive forward. Watch, rotate and drive. Even a small rotation will make your contact feel much more solid. Just swinging your arm won't work. I've tried it. Even if you meet the ball with a compact swing, the contact feels hollow because your body's power isn't engaged. A common problem for amateur players is not knowing the correct contact point. For those last few loops I just did, where was my contact point? In front and to my right. I was actively meeting the ball in front, correct? Now that we know the ideal contact point is in front and to our right, you must adjust your stroke and footwork based on the incoming ball. If a deep ball comes and I'm standing close to the table, only a forearm's length away, I'll get jammed if I try to rotate, right? Look at this ball. My contact point is forced back here. I'm definitely jammed. So, if you're playing close to the table, you can't do a full body rotation. You must keep your racket in front and use the incoming pace. Use their pace to generate your own. It becomes a block drive. If you want to generate your own power, you need to be at least a meter from the table to have space to hit at your ideal contact point. Now let's look at half-long balls. A half-long ball lands around here, just barely coming off the edge of the table. Any shorter and it would be a short ball, staying on the table. Against a short ball bouncing here, let me show you. Okay, if the first bounce is here and I'm positioned close, my contact point is still perfectly in front and to my right. So, from a close to the table position, I still have enough time to use my body rotation for an aggressive attack. But now, if I'm standing at mid-distance and he serves that same half-long ball, look, to reach it, I have to stretch and bend over, which is an awkward position. A topspin serve won't bounce twice unless it's extremely heavy. It will either be half-long or deep. So how do you manage this distance? If you're standing back and see the first bounce is half-long, you must move in. If you don't move in, you'll be caught out of position.
对，
And you'll make contact at the very end of your stroke with no power. So remember, against a deep ball, use a block drive from close range, or step back to attack with full power. If the ball is half long, you have plenty of time for a full backswing from close range. For a half-long ball, if you don't take a backswing, you'll often end up taking the ball early and just pushing it. So if they play a half-long ball, you must engage your body. If the first shot they give you is half-long, you have to move in as soon as you see it's short. Now for the third aspect of the forehand framework, the forearm backswing. For a forehand drive, your backswing should actually start in front of your navel, like a service return, then move parallel to the side and back before hitting. Why can't I just drop my forearm? Because I want pure impact on the ball. To get that pure impact, I need to generate power from back to front. And that requires keeping the arm on a parallel plane. The moment it drops down, you introduce some brushing friction. Now, for a topspin loop, watch my forearm carefully. For a forehand loop against topspin, during the backswing, my forearm doesn't just drop straight down. It rotates out, then drops down. Many players miss their timing and hit long because they don't do this.
对，有出界度，哎，
The motion is, rotate out, then drop down. Let me demonstrate one at a time. First, rotate sideways, then drop down. When you combine them, it becomes a smooth arc. Watch my topspin loop. It's not just dropping your arm when the ball comes. Many players feel their loop is awkward for this reason. When I teach kids, they often think they've lowered their arm for the loop, but they haven't. So I use this method. I tell them to draw a circle to bring the arm down. Get ready, draw a circle, and then the arm drops into position.
放下去了。
If you just drop it straight down, you'll feel rushed and get jammed. The second point here is the angle of the forearm. I understand why many of you get jammed. The forearm angle is crucial. For a drive, it's parallel to the ground, but not absolutely. For a loop, it's slightly lower. Drive, loop, drive, loop. Everyone watch my loop. I'll do it softly so you can see my arm. When your forearm drops down, it naturally creates an upward arc for the ball.
是，
Many amateur players start their loop backswing like this. They can't get the arm down, or if they do, it's a stiff drop. They haven't truly lowered the forearm. It's not about making a huge motion. But when you loop, your forearm should be angled downward, like a slope.
嗯，
You can't just pull your arm straight back and call it a loop. The head of the racket needs to drop.
下来，对，
Racket head down, forearm down, but don't straighten your arm. If you straighten it, you'll injure your elbow after a few shots. So you should keep a slight bend as you lower it. Okay players, watch my forearm. Try this tomorrow, and the arc on your loop will naturally improve a lot. And now, the drive. And now, the loop. When transitioning between forehand and backhand, why do you rush? There are three main reasons. First, you lack anticipation. Because the ball is almost on top of me. If I don't hurry, I won't even touch it, so I just poke at it.
对，赶紧去碰去。嗯，
Second, you've positioned yourself way too close to the table. Then the ball comes, you see it's going past you, and you frantically try to swing. Basically, you're too close and have no time to rotate, create space, and meet the ball properly. When the ball comes to your forehand, your swing path will be jammed by any deep ball. Unless the ball is half long, which gives you the perfect distance. What's the third reason? It's a kind of panic that beginners often have. You see the ball and think, I have to be fast, I have to keep up. Your hand moves faster than your feet. Your hand reaches for the ball because it wants to complete the motion quickly. So, let's talk about how to fix this. Place a barrier in front of you, about a forearm's length from the table. Then, play all your rallies from this position. You won't have time to rush. Just play from here. I want to prove to you how comfortable it is to play topspin shots from this distance. If they play a touch shot, that's a different story. But for normal training rallies, just stand here. Try standing here and see how much more relaxed your stroke becomes. See how complete your stroke is, and how much better your rhythm is. Let me remove the barrier. My distance from the table is about 1 arm's length. It's not far. Add my stroke extension to that, and I'm right at the ideal contact point. But if you stand right here, why do you hit the net when the ball goes deep? Because any deep ball will completely jam your stroke. You might be fine on the backhand side, but when you switch to forehand, by the time you swing your arm out, you're already jammed. This is an extremely common problem. If you stand too close, your backhand is prone to hitting the net, and you're always late on the forehand. A single step back can nearly double your reaction time. I'm not telling you to back away from the table. Just find the proper position. With that extra time, you can complete your backswing and body rotation. Think about it, if you stand here and finish your swing, your racket ends up way over the table. Not every ball is going to land right there for you. Your opponent won't feed you perfect shots. Unless it's a touch shot, if they complete their stroke, the ball will likely be deep. Why do you rush the shot? Because you're recovering before your stroke is even finished. You have nothing to do, so you rush to hit the next one. Or, you finish one shot, but fail to recover for the second, so you rush that one too. So the second thing you must focus on is the completeness of your stroke. This includes the entire sequence: backswing, contact, and recovery to the ready position. Watch me. I can attack continuously. I can attack again because my recovery is always on point. Your problem is that after you hit one shot, you don't recover. Then you see the next ball coming and you panic. That's why you can only attack once. It's the same problem on the backhand. If you recover after every shot, you can rip every single ball. If you just scoop at it, you'll hit it straight into the net. This is why many players hit topspin rallies into the net. You must ensure every part of your stroke is complete. Why is it so stable? Because the stroke is perfectly executed from beginning to end. What happens with many amateur players? Their shot looks like this. The stroke is incomplete. So within your forehand framework, you must focus on the start and end points of your stroke. In a match, of course, you adapt. If the ball is fast, I shorten my swing. If it's slow, I might wait on the rhythm. But the stroke should never be incomplete or half-finished. As you're practicing this backspin to topspin loop, are you failing to recover after the first shot? If you loop, then recover, look at that rhythm. You don't even have to tell yourself to slow down. Because between shots, you're busy. You're rotating and preparing your backswing. But if you finish your loop and just freeze here, can you pause? If you pause too long, you'll be jammed. You don't want to get jammed, so you rush forward to hit the ball. So for players with poor rhythm, place a barrier in front of you. When I was young, my coach would use a stool. Then when I played, my rhythm became so much better. If it's short, move your feet in, then come back. Move in with your feet, then recover. Besides, when you step in, you're generating power with your body, which is great. Second, focus on the completeness of your stroke. The reason you start rushing more and more is that after each shot, your racket moves further forward, without recovery. This is a major sticking point for most amateur players, a very common issue. If you want to generate real power, watch this. I'm not big, but let me loop one for you. I broke the ball. It shattered. In table tennis, to get that synchronized power, your timing has to be perfect. You can't be jammed, and you can't be reaching. You must hit it cleanly to generate full power. And that synchronized power comes from what I said earlier, if the ball is deep. I need to be at least a meter back to properly engage that power, right? If the ball is half long and I want to use power, I have to be positioned further forward to engage it. First, learn to synchronize your power. You have to understand that when power is properly engaged, the stroke becomes fluid and graceful. If you can't engage that power, your strokes will devolve into simple pushes and lifts. Join our membership to unlock daily exclusive shorts and discover the coach's secret tips and tricks on table tennis technique. You'll also get our weekly on-court coaching series. Silver members get even more and also unlock the exclusive weekly Coach's Corner series. Thank you for supporting the channel's growth.